TV Crazy Man here. In this video, we look at all the Twilight Zone episodes that featured men and creatures from space, from giants to scientists to invaders from Mars and Venus, with fun facts and lots of great memories from the greatest sci-fi series of all time.
This one we recommend to science fiction buffs, fantasy lovers, or to anyone who wants to grip the edge of his seat.
In the classic Twilight Zone episode, the monsters are due on Maple Street from Season 1.
Maple Street, USA.
A quiet suburban neighborhood suddenly loses all power. Lights, phones, cars, everything, after a strange flash of light in the sky. At first, the friendly residents assume it's just a meteor. Tommy, a young teen in the neighborhood, brings up a comic book story about alien infiltrators in a similar situation, which sows seeds of distrust among the neighbors.
A mother and a father and 2 kids who look just like humans.
Hey guys, it's just a comic book story. What starts as a peaceful community tears itself apart in a matter of hours. Real aliens do show up at the end. High on a nearby hill, 2 human-like aliens calmly watch the chaos, using a device to manipulate the power on Maple Street. One explains to the other that this is their standard method of conquest. They don't need bombs or armies.
Now let's not be a mob.
The aliens plan to repeat this strategy one Maple Street at a time across Earth, letting humanity basically destroy itself.
And we'll go from one to the other and let them destroy themselves.
They then board their spaceship and fly off, leaving the ruined neighborhood behind. Rod Serling wrote this episode, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Serling loved to add thought-provoking content to his sci-fi stories, which made them all the more interesting, of course. Serling used this story as a powerful allegory about paranoia, mob mentality, and how fear can turn ordinary people against each other. Also, interesting to me, and perhaps, who knows, maybe somewhat inspirational to Rod in writing this one, there is in the Bible, in the book of Judges, chapter 7, the story of Gideon, who defeats a massive army with only 300 men by only blowing trumpets and smashing jars of pottery, creating a lot of noise. Revealing their torches, they held up lights and shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The Midianites panicked in the darkness and confusion, thinking they were being attacked by a huge army. They turned on each other with their own swords and fled in total chaos. The Israelites didn't even need to fight directly. The enemy destroyed itself. Here's a little bit of trivia. The uniforms worn by the aliens, their spaceship ramp, and the shot of the flying spaceship was originally used in Forbidden Planet from 1956.
Their destination is Mars. And in just a moment, we'll land there with them.
In the episode, people are alike all over. Fearing the worst, the lone survivor of a crash landing on Mars finds that the native inhabitants, to his relief, are very hospitable.
You're just like I am!
But there's a catch, of course. These Martians apparently have some sort of telepathic abilities that allow the astronaut, Sam Conrad, to understand their language.
You'd call it hypnosis of a sort.
They appear to be dressed like ancient Roman citizens. Did they visit our planet centuries before and inspire the Roman dress code? Rod Serling adapted this story from the short story Brothers Beyond the Void by Paul W. Ferrum. There are a couple of interesting similarities between this episode and the Planet of the Apes movie that Rod Serling also wrote the screenplay for. Both involve astronauts. The astronauts are put in the cages by the local inhabitants. The astronaut in this case was played by Roddy McDowall, while in the Apes movie, Roddy played a local, namely a talking ape named Cornelius, which is coincidentally a Roman name. Coincidentally, Claude Akins from Monsters Are Due on Maple Street and Roddy McDowall from this episode both played apes in the original Planet of the Apes franchise. Shh. In the episode The Invaders, a woman is attacked by tiny beings from a miniature UFO.
A woman about to face terror, which is even now coming at her from the Twilight Zone.
The episode starts with tiny, scary little aliens that terrorize a poor old woman who seems unable to speak and lives in a primitive cabin. She fights for her life against what appears to be evil aliens until we finally realize that the aliens are us. normal-sized U.S. Air Force astronauts. The episode stars Agnes Moorehead, best known as Endora on Bewitched. When Agnes Moorehead learned she had no dialogue in this episode, she initially refused to do it. Rod Serling and director Douglas Hayes convinced her to do it anyway. Along with The Little People and Stopover in a Quiet Town, this is one of 3 episodes to feature a giant race of aliens. When the spaceship is first shown rotating, the strings controlling it are clearly visible. In the episode Mr. Dingle the Strong.
And these 2 unseen gentlemen are visitors from outer space.
Experimenting aliens grant super strength to Mr. Dingle, played by Burgess Meredith. After discovering his superpowers, Dingle begins performing various feats of strength from lifting statues to splitting boulders and gains a great deal of publicity. The 2-headed Martian returns and is disappointed to see that Dingle is using his strength only for show. The Martian takes his strength away just as Dingle attempts to lift the building before a live television audience. Unable to make good on his claims or repeat any of his previous feats, Dingle becomes a laughingstock. As the 2-headed Martian leaves, he meets 2 aliens from Venus who are also searching for a suitable Earthling for an experiment. The 2-headed Martian scientist recommends Dingle, and the Venus aliens give Dingle super intelligence this time.
Involving the laws of probability, interspersed with the process of calculus.
This episode was written by Rod Serling and guest starred Don Rickles, of course, and actor Burgess Meredith as Luther Dingle. I found a couple of stuntman sightings, and this one, Don Rickles is clearly replaced as well as Burgess Meredith. The last one, Meredith stuntman takes a punch and a fall for the actor.
Opinion.
In the episode Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, bus passengers during a snowstorm include a hidden Martian.
What do you think?
They were all on the bus, weren't they?
During a fierce snowstorm, 2 state troopers investigate a reported UFO crash and follow footprints to a roadside diner where a busload of passengers has taken shelter. The driver insists there were only 6 passengers on his bus, but now there are 7 people inside.
7 here now.
Meaning one of them must be the Martian who survived the crash. And of course, this one is written by Rod Serling. The episode builds tension through clever dialogue and red herrings until the double twist reveal shows that not everything or everyone is quite what they seem to be. Strangely, the Martian in this episode has 3 arms right in line with the alien from Venus who has 3 eyes. Both report an invasion party is coming to our planet soon, and apparently only one invading army was expected to take over the world. I wonder who won. Jack Elam plays the crazy old man in this one. He was famous for playing bad guys in westerns and later comedic roles in movies like Cannonball Run. He was also known for his famous wandering eye he injured as a child. In the episode To Serve Man, giant Canaanite aliens arrive on Earth offering advanced help. The aliens, known as Canaanite, seem friendly and assure everyone they have nothing to be afraid of. In fact, they offer to share wonderful technology that will provide limitless energy, cure all diseases, and convert deserts into lush gardens. For the people of Earth, paradise has arrived. Chambers is an encryption specialist, and he tries his best to decrypt a book that the Canaanites have left behind. The book title seems benign, but it's not what they think it is.
It's a cookbook!
Here's a little bit of trivia. All the 9-foot-tall Canaanites are played by the same actor. 7 foot 2 inches tall Richard Kiel. This is most apparent at the end when 2 identical Canaanites stand near the spaceship in a split screen effect. It originally aired on March 2nd, 1962 on CBS. It was based on Damon Knight's 1950 short story. The episode, of course, was written by Rod Serling and directed by Richard L. Baer. It's considered one of the best episodes of the series. particularly for its final twist. TV Guide ranked the episode at number 11 on the list of 100 greatest episodes of all time, and ranked the ending as the greatest twist of all time. A lot of the same plot lines on the episode are used on the 80s V series, where aliens pretend to help humanity in exchange for resources, but in reality, they want to put humans on the menu. While The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street taught us that paranoia can lead to unnecessary panic and violence, causing us to turn on each other, To Serve Man seems to teach an opposite lesson, where a little cautious paranoia might have actually saved human lives. Which reminds me of a quote from President Reagan regarding the Soviet Union back in the 80s. Trust, but verify. This might have been a good principle for us to remember if we ever have dealings with real-life aliens from outer space, especially if they don't happen to be vegetarians. The flying saucer you see at the end of the Twilight episode, To Serve Man, when the ship takes off with the humans aboard, is stock footage from the 1956 movie Earth versus the Flying Saucers. Now, there are a couple of tiny goofs on this one. When the Canamet spacecraft is first seen from the ground, it passes in front of a nearby tree instead of behind it. At the beginning of the story, due to the use of stock footage, it looks more like the 1940s than the early 1960s.
How many old men do you know who can change into monsters?
On the episode The Fugitive, young lame Jenny and the other neighborhood kids don't realize that their playmate, Old Ben, is really an intergalactic fugitive hiding out, until two serious type men come looking for him.
You see, I am not actually a resident of this world.
Huh?
Old Ben admits to Jenny that he's not a criminal, as he stated before in the episode, but the king of his own planet. Ben fled because he tired after 1,000 years of elaborate ceremony and responsibilities being a king. You can relate, I'm sure. Old Ben apparently has the ability to shapeshift in this episode. The guest stars were Nancy Culp from the Beverly Hillbillies as Agnes Gann. The lesson of this episode takes us a completely different direction in view from the last episode, showing us that aliens can be just as good as they can be evil.
Eventually, her niece will grow up to be an honest-to-goodness queen.
In the episode The Little People, astronauts land on a planet inhabited by tiny beings. One develops a god complex. Here's another one with one of my favorite actors of all time, Claude Akins.
They're worshipping a heartless slob whose insides are made out of the same stuff as that statue.
When a spacecraft makes an emergency landing on an unknown planet, the commander, William Fletcher, is anxious to get underway again as soon as possible. While Fletcher makes repairs to the ship, Craig explores the area around them and is astonished to find that they are living beings. They are only a fraction of the size of humans. Soon he is being recognized by them as a god and refuses to leave when the ship is ready.
This is a monotheistic society here. Just room for one god.
He is soon to realize that one's place in the universe is a relative thing. When two giant alien men show up and accidentally squash Craig, could these two be related to the old lady's alien race from the Invaders episode? Although they are giants, as the old lady, they appear to be much more highly advanced and capable of space travel. The lesson learned from Rod Serling from this tale is that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and no man is a god. Or simply, perhaps better stated, pride goes before a fall. Here's some trivia. The weapons and giant uniforms were reused from Forbidden Planet.
This one is for laughs and for the congenital liars amongst you.
On the episode Hocus Pocus and Frisby, a habitual liar attracts aliens who take his tall tales actually seriously.
There seems to be no question that your accomplishments are far and away more extensive than those of any other human being on Earth.
Somerset Frisby is abducted by visiting aliens who mistakenly believe him to be one of Earth's leading intellectuals. Frisby barely escapes by using his harmonica, to which the aliens believe is some sort of weapon, creating sounds that they cannot bear, which to us, of course, is just music. Classic TV stars abound in this episode, with Andy Devine as Somerset Frisby, best known possibly as the sidekick Jingles on the Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok from the 1950s. Howard McNear, you know as Floyd from the Andy Griffith Show, and Dabbs Greer, the preacher from Little House on the Prairie. The lesson from this episode is clearly to avoid bragging and telling tall tales just a little too much, or someone might actually believe you, or they might not when you want them to.
But any place and all places can be the Twilight Zone.
On the episode, The Gift, a visitor from outer space brings a gift to a small village. This story with religious overtones, originally aired the week after Easter in 1962, is essentially a Jesus allegory. When Williams is asked by the little boy Pedro if where he is from there is a God, he says yes, the same God. Pedro wonders if God would come to earth, would mankind find him strange and be afraid? And would they shoot at him?
And they nailed him to a cross.
And then spent 2,000 years learning to believe in him.
The villagers watch Pedro and Williams reach for each other. Fear drives them to shoot Williams before they believe that he has a chance to harm the boy. With Williams lying dead, the doctor picks up the remains of the gift came from the alien. He reads the note on it aloud. Greetings to the people of Earth. We come as friends in peace. We bring you this gift. The following chemical formula is a vaccine against all forms of cancer. The rest is burned away. The doctor states we have not just killed a man, we have killed a dream. Classic TV fans will recognize Vito Scotti from a couple of episodes from Gilligan's Island, and the second man to voice Fred Flintstone, star actor Henry Corden.
Richard Bayside, in an oddball excursion that we call Probe 7, Over and Out.
In the episode Probe 7, Over and Out, an astronaut meets a humanoid alien survivor on a new planet. Richard Basehart guest stars as Adam Cook. You probably recognize him as Admiral Nelson from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. You might also recognize his voice as the opening narrative voice of Knight Rider.
Shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist.
In the very first episode of that series, he played William Knight, the man who financed the creation of KITT.
Heaven help me. I wonder if that's a possibility.
Astronaut Adam Cook crash lands on a planet several light years away. His ship is badly damaged and beyond repair. He managed to contact his home base, but they have little encouragement for him, as not only can they not reach him, but their entire world is now at war and may soon be destroyed.
A few hours. There isn't going to be anybody left around to do any building.
Cook readies himself to make a home on this new world, where he discovers another inhabitant, a human female from another world. He learns her name is Eve, Norda, and together they set off to begin a new life. Near the end, Eve offers Adam an apple, perhaps the start of a new civilization. I'm really thinking that she shouldn't do that. The episode asks the question, what if Adam and Eve were actually space travelers? It's not very theologically or biblically correct, but as a sci-fi story, it certainly is fascinating. The Twilight Zone frequently draws on biblical imagery. Of course, we don't find out the identity of our two Adam and Eve characters until the twist end, which technically would make all of us descendants of aliens.
And with a broken rib and a tired woman.
3 men on motorcycles lead us into the Twilight Zone.
On the episode Black Leather Jackets, alien invaders disguised as motorcycle thugs planning bacterial warfare. Leather jacket wearing motorcycle riding aliens Scott, Steve, and Fred invade a peaceful neighborhood where Scott develops a romance with teenage neighbor Ellen Tillman, and it upsets both of his comrades and Ellen's father, Stu. The aliens seem to possess telekinetic abilities which allow them to move objects with their minds. Here's some trivia. In an interview with the Archive of American Television in 2003, the writer Earl Hamner Jr. admitted that he thought this episode was actually bad, and he was not as proud of it as most of the others that he wrote. He was, of course, the creator of Walton's show that was obviously nothing like The Twilight Zone. In all, he wrote 8 episodes of The Twilight Zone. Dukes and Andy Griffith Show star Denver Powell stars in this episode as Stu Tillman.
Most of us on Waking in the Morning know exactly where we are.
In the episode Stopover in a Quiet Town, the morning after a wild night of partying, a hungover married couple awaken in an unfamiliar and artificial place. This was written also by Walton's creator Earl Hamner Jr. A married couple, Bob and Millie Frazier, wake up in an unfamiliar house. Millie remembers only that Bob drank too much at a party the night before, and that while driving home to Manhattan, a large shadow appeared over their car near Riverdale. They wandered to town looking for a way out. Eventually, a large shadow falls over them and they flee, only to be scooped up by the hand of a gigantic child. The town is revealed just to be a model village doll set of some kind. The giant little girl's mother says, "Be careful with your pets, dear." Daddy brought them all the way from Earth, showing that the couple are pets to an alien family. Could this be the same giant alien race shown at the end of the episode, The Little People? A couple of goofs for those really paying attention in this episode. First, a crewman flashes by on the intro. And then later on we see someone sitting on a chair in the background in a completely deserted town that is millions of miles away.
And the third member of the party, the unknown.
In the episode The Fear, Charlotte Scott and State Trooper Robert Franklin are stalked by a giant from outer space.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
When the two come face to face against this fearsome foe, they soon realize it's nothing but a giant balloon. Foiled by their attempt to scare the Earthlings, the real spacemen, who are actually tiny in comparison, fly away in fear.
Please, oh please, great leader, let us depart before they crush us.
Well, that's the last Twilight Zone episode. If I forgot any, let me know in the comments. And now some of my bloopers, as I tried to learn to operate my new teleprompter. Nothing's easy, I'm telling you. Moral fable. Twilight Zone frequently drew on biblical imagery for moral fables. The Twilight Zone frequently drew on biblical imagery for the Twilight Zone frequently drew on major scandals. In an interview with the Archive of American Television in 2003, the writer Earl Hamner, is it Hamner or Hamner? Okay. In the classic.
Great apple.
Okay, stop. Can't laugh. In a classic Twilight Zone episode, the monsters are due on Maple Street from season 1. Okay, that was scarier than the Twilight Zone. Also, I've got a new channel where I'll be posting on mysterious history, science, Bible stories, and just things that make you think a little. It's called Beyond the Unexpected, and you should see my first video for that channel around here at the end somewhere. It's on the subject of Noah's flood and the possible connection to Atlantis. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please hit like, share, and check out some more classic TV fun, facts, goose, bloopers, and more on the TV Crazy Man channel. Y'all have a great day.